Jai Sri Krishna. And today I'll be introducing you to the magic of mantras. And in this case, we'll be singing not a very popular mantra that at least we have heard of in the Indian continent. At least I hadn't heard of it before until I heard it from Gitu Hinduja, and I was absolutely fascinated. Hearing it with her magnetic voice kind of took me to spaces unexplored before. But let me tell you about them. When you chant mantras, your mind releases the positive energy that decreases the negative thoughts or stress. Chanting mantras is an ancient practice that calms your mind and soul. Scientific studies have found that chanting mantras like Om for 10 minutes can decrease anxiety and depressive symptoms in the human body. Now, how about the mantra Avalokiteshvara? It was introduced into Tibet in the 7th century. Actually, Avalokiteshvara, he is the most popular figure in the pantheon, successfully reincarnated in each Dalai Lama. And he is credited with introducing the prayer formula Om Mani Padme Hum. Avalokiteshvara or Padmapani is a bodhisattva who embodies the compassion of all Buddhas. The origin of Avalokiteshvara of Potala, an explanation of the name Avalokiteshvara is the bodhisattva of compassion. Now let us meet Gitu Hinduja and what she thinks. Gitu Hinduja believes that music should be a celebration of life, with all its strife and struggles, joy and pleasures. A Mumbai-based singer-songwriter who has been performing for over 2 decades, Gitu is a contemporary folk singer who weaves her way through varied music terrains. She explores various styles and different genres. And Gitu tells vivid, evocative stories in her songs that instantly transport the listener to the landscape of her mind, and she does that accompanied by just a guitar. Her music could be defined as music for the soul. Music has also been a songwriter, so from a guitarist to a singer, songwriter, Gitu Hinduja has had a remarkable journey that never stops. And mantra of Avalokiteshvara is part of the series of songs entitled Songs of Grace. Now let me tell you her story in her own words. She says, I started my musical career in 1993 by releasing an album titled Dancing Free. I started to realize how shlokas and chants were in reality a big part of my history. I grew up going to a Bal Vihar every Saturday evening as a young child. These were classes that were a part of the Chinmaya mission activities where kids came together. We were taught shlokas, the arti, we were told stories from the various scriptures. We used to enact these stories that were art, there were art competitions programmed around it. Thereafter, in my 20s, Gitu says, I started learning music from Jalota ji, and who in turn taught her a lot of material that seems to be resurfacing and showing up in her consciousness these days. Gitu says, it took me a while to decide on which songs to work on. Each had so much to offer, and the wisdom in all the mantras, shlokas, hymns, and chants is infinite. It was important to me that I follow a thread of consistent thought. She says I had no intention of releasing these songs until I had a chance to take the show on the road, performing all the material first. However, the universe had other plans for all of us. So she says, I decided to put myself to work and start recording and releasing some of the songs as singles. So she says, here I am embarking on yet another journey with this Buddhist mantra that has the most soothing, almost non-melody, but is extremely addictive. As I have been singing this mantra, the beautiful terrain of Ladakh seems to surface in my mind. And you'll be seeing photographs of Ladakh. And she says, I made my first trip to Ladakh in 2004 after a particularly challenging time in my life. I felt that I started healing while I was sitting and watching the sunrise at dawn on an extremely cold morning on the edge of a stream near the Pongong So. And she says, I also visited the various monasteries, watching the monks while they prayed, they taught the junior monks, they read the scriptures, they built and repaired buildings that needed to be fixed, and they smiled a lot. The early morning service at Tikse Monastery left a huge impression on me. All these reflections reverberate through me when I feel this mantra. My experience in Ladakh led me to the mantra of Avalokiteshvara. The single was released on various music platforms on the 9th of September 2020. But let me tell you the translation of this mantra, though you don't need it because just the sound of it is so magnetic. And this is me, Shakun, speaking. So, translation. It says, homage to the three jewels, homage to the ocean of noble wisdom, homage to the illuminator, to the king of the host, that is the Bodhisattva, to the Tathagata, to the Arahat, to the perfectly awakened one, homage to all the Tathagatas, to the Arahats, to the perfect and fully awakened ones, homage to the noble Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattvaya, Mahasattvaya, to the great being, to the greatly compassionate one, and thus firmly bearing a burden, moving, trembling, shaking, moving, trembling, shaking in the flower, in the circumference, blazing, understanding, leading away. And now, let us listen to Gitu Hinduja.
Mahasattvaya, Mahakarunikaya, Tadyata, Ungaradhara, Ziri Ziri, Zuru Zuru, Ittive, Itti Chale Chale, Pura Chale, Pura Chale, Kusume, Kusumava, Ve Illi Milli Chitti Jwala, Apanaya Shu.